And welcome back to the Basil Breen Boombox. We're coming at you live from Basil Breen Studios, aka my bedroom, with a new episode, a solo episode. I know it's not as good as when I have a nice little guest here to bounce off, but hopefully my ramblings will suffice for now. It's been a while since I've actually done one of these podcasts in general. I just had a lot going on. I was in Canada. I was recording music and trying to go to these open mics now, which I'll get into. And I suppose the podcast will probably just intermittently come in and out of existence depending on what my current life situation looks like. I am hoping though to be more consistent with this in the future. I've lots of guests that I'd love to get on and have a conversation with, but I'll get into that in a bit. We're here with our new setup. We have a new camera. We are experimenting with some lighting. Hopefully the shot is okay. I can't actually see it. So I'm just hoping everything is recording and is gonna be grand. We have nice blackout walls, which are apparently very good if you want to have control over the lighting. Shout out to Dean Carroll, who is probably looking at this now thinking I could have done a better job. I only have one little light there. But anyway, I might actually get you in to have a proper look at it, But it's interesting that this is episode 22 because of the 90% of podcasts that are made, 90% of them don't make it past episode 4. I think that's the statistic. And then of the 90% that do make it past episode 4, 90% of them don't make it to episode 20 or something similar. I probably butchered that whole thing. But the general gist is we've made it to episode 22 now. So we are more consistent than 99.9999% of the podcasts that have ever existed. So that's pretty cool. I think with any of these things, you just need to be consistent. You need to be willing to play the game for as long as possible. And as long as you're playing the game in whatever, and the game is just the pursuit of whatever it is, you don't ever really have to stop anything unless it becomes misaligned with who you are and what you actually want to bring to the world or whatever. But I think podcasting and conversation in general is just something that I'll be doing for the rest of my days, as long as I can. So the podcast will just come in and out of existence. And eventually, as in pretty soon, we will have guests. I have 2 guests at least lined up that I will be looking forward to having a conversation with. And then hopefully getting the wheels turning on some more guests. But yeah, no, I've just been a bit flat out the last while. After I got back from Canada, just recording my song Rebel, which maybe you have seen, potentially, because I've just been plugging the absolute shit out of it. I tried to devise some sort of marketing strategy where I just created loads of these little videos. I'm a software engineer, so I could create them programmatically. So I have these tools now that'll help me create little short videos in the future. My thinking around the sort of short form video content was based on the sort of new paradigm that you're seeing emerge. Well, it's not even that new. It's kind of it's like it's matured a little bit now. But with TikTok, their algorithm of short-term video content and personalized algorithmic content like Facebook and Instagram and even YouTube, they're jumping on the bandwagon. Even Netflix, I seen have a little Netflix Shorts thing. But it's the kind of final iteration, I think, of recommendation algorithms. Whereas before, Facebook and Instagram, what you were being served was based on who you followed and who was in your like sort of sphere in a way. But now the landscape is sort of being democratized, as in the best content will hopefully rise to the top, and it allows sort of for this slot machine effect where if you have little short form videos, they are like little coins that you're putting into a little machine. You pull it, and then potentially you can reach people that aren't in your immediate audience. with these new algorithms. So you got to be in it to win it. So I just cut up a few little videos of different snippets. I think it went okay. The one thing, it just felt really cringy after a while, just posting the same basic thing, like look at my song, look at my song, look at my song. But I heard Tyler the Creator, talk about this recently, and the way he describes, like, okay, you're gonna put all this effort into recording the song, then mixing it, and then going back and forward with revisions, and then putting it out there, and then you're only gonna. He was saying people only put it on their story, and then that's it, and then they forget about it. Whereas, you've put all this effort in, like no one's gonna plug it for you. You gotta have to sort of get it out there into the world in whatever way you can, in whatever shape and form that may be. And right now, Instagram and all the other social platforms were within my reach. So you gotta just, I suppose, expose people to your music over a period of time in order to gather interest. It's the same with everything. Like songs on the radio, the reason they are able to sort of bury themselves in your head is basically because you are exposed to them multiple times over a given time frame, and that builds up sort of this image in your head of what that thing is and a familiarity with it. But that comes with time. So with any kind of marketing, you really got to just keep showing up in front of people, and then obviously the people that will resonate with it, it'll click with them. Hopefully, you know what I mean? Because I think with music, at least what I want to try and do is elicit some of the beautiful moments that I've had with songs that sort of have been able to touch me, deep within. And you can create that with music, because if you're creating stuff like music, for example, um, it's based on your taste for music, and then therefore you're a human. So there's a high likelihood that if you like what you're creating, that somebody else will also like that. And it's one of the most sort of powerful, if not the most powerful, art form in a way, because it's able to just elicit responses from people and instill emotion in such an instantaneous way. There's nothing really quite like it. So, if and then if you obviously are able to pursue that in a more full time role, that means trying to make it financially viable. I don't really know what that means at the moment, but I'm also looking into other things like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and not breaking the bank, but trying to look at, okay, how can I get this music into the ears of people that it will resonate with? Because there's an audience out there for, I think, basically everything. Anything that's created by a human, there's a potential audience out there. There's definitely an audience of one, which is the creator themselves. But there's a high likelihood that if you are able to, if 7 billion people heard your song, a subset of them will like it. So it's really just a problem of scale in a way. So I think with Facebook ads and stuff, they help you try to. So with Facebook ads, you can do things like, okay, let's say if a particular artist like Ed Sheeran, you can say, target my ad or my song, try push it into front of people that also like Ed Sheeran. And that way, and then you can train the algorithms to figure out, okay, who's watching your video the longest. And then you can say, okay, the people that watch my video the longest, I want you to target them now with more of my music. So you can become more scientific in your approach with paid advertising versus organic. I haven't really experimented too much with it, but I'll be happy to share whatever I come up with. I've also been sort of hitting up these open mics now, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. International Bar, the Circle Sessions, Minty's, Indie Club, and then the Smithfield Creators on Wednesday. This has been sort of a new thing for me to experiment with. I've kind of known that the busking had only gotten me so far, and it was a very sort of solitary solo endeavor. and I knew that the open mics is kind of like the next step for potential growth for me as a musician and as a person as well, because it's kind of nerve wracking to have to go to these things. Even though you might think, oh, I'm super extroverted or whatever else, I still have resistance against, going to places where you don't know anybody, where you have to try and meet new people, and just that sort the unknown in a way. And I've kind of, I was very nervous at the beginning when I started performing at these, and now I've learned to just relax more, and a lot more of myself, I think, is able to come out, and it's just been absolutely amazing to witness and meet some of the other artists and people at these events, and also the fact that these events, they're basically free, and the people that are performing at them are absolutely amazing. Some of them are just out of this world with their musicianship and the words that they're able to bring forth out of the universe, the phrasing, the sentences that just these one-liners that contain, you know, the whole wealth of like human emotion and experience. It's just been really eye-opening, and it's inspiring me to want to push more with my music and write better and be a just better artist, better whatever that means to me. It's like I can step it up. Like, where have I been not doing as good a job as I could have been, and making sure that I'm doing my best when it comes to writing music and recording music even. I've learned more about that that I won't get into now, but I really highly suggest that people get into these open mics, even if they're not performing at them, just to see and witness the performances and the art itself, because when you're at these open mics, you're basically putting your hand on the pulse of the culture, because art is a reflection of the times, and the artists are speaking forth the current moment, and letting yous and us know what is actually this moment about that we are currently residing in. And it might be very sort of targeted at let's say the Dublin area or whatever, but when you're listening to some of these musicians and even spoken words and comedians, and they're saying things, they're talking about nostalgic things like video games that I thought I only knew about, and then they're saying them. You realize that you grew up in a time where these people all grew up, and there's a shared sort of reality and collective unconsciousness that we're all taking part in, and that permeates us. And the art that we all create is sort of a reflection of that in a way. So it's really it's good to get an understanding of the time. It's good to get an understanding of yourself. You can learn so much from listening and trying to understand what's being sung or said, because they are also humans like yourself, and you can understand yourself more by trying to understand others. Hold on, I'm just going to take a sip of my coffee in a glass. Hopefully that's not putting people too much off, but here we go. And the slurps, hopefully I'll be able to edit them out. I'm not going to bother actually too much time. But anyway, the open mic scene is a vibrant, alive and beautiful place, and I'm feeling I'm getting a lot of personal growth from my ability to step into new social situations. I can already see it having an effect as I'm moving through the world. I'm a lot more open to conversation. Now you might think, oh, I must have been already open to conversation, but a lot of my work, like especially on the programming side, just takes place here on my own. So I've noticed with the open mics, I'm getting lots of repetitions in social situations, and I'm there's that resistance that I felt, that would prevent me from stepping into a conversation or making a little comment with a cashier or a deli assistant or whatever it may be. I'm much more likely to step into that now. I feel, and I want to also just encourage as much as I can, when something is resonating with me, and when I'm seeing all these open mic performers, um, and whatever else, it's filling me with so much joy and emotion, and it's hard to contain myself because I'm very sensitive to to stimuli of any kind, really, and I want to encourage as much as I can, because you'd be so surprised at how just a little bit of encouragement from somebody or a nice word, how far that goes. I've noticed, let's say you thought you had a terrible performance, someone just tips you on the shoulder at the end of the night and says, like, fair play to you, like, that that changes your whole view of what that night was. That just one little bit of encouragement, and we don't know what the world would be like if we just encouraged, to the nth degree. Only encourage where you really genuinely feel it's warranted, and you can always find something that you appreciate in a particular piece of art or in somebody if you just dig a little. You know what I mean? It doesn't, even if there's lots of music that I don't like, you know what I mean? And there's lots of music that everybody doesn't like. But and also somebody my least favorite song is somebody's favorite song. That's just the nature of taste and personal experience with whatever it may be that we're consuming. But with anything, then you can say, okay, well, I don't like their music, for example, but I appreciate the craft that and the effort that they're putting into it, and the consistency that they're showing up, and you can appreciate there's always something to appreciate and encourage more of, and you just need to look for it. And when you find it, just encourage it. And when you feel it, just say it. Like, just say what you feel, and don't be afraid, and don't be thinking that if someone else is getting props, that's taken away from your props. It's not like that at all. It's literally, if if you are bringing out like positive reinforcement of things that you like in the world, then you're going to create more of that in the world, and then your world is going to be better off because of it. So it's like the rising tide raises all boats. The better you make the world, the better your world will be, and the better world for everybody else. It's such a win-win-win. And one way of doing that is to just encourage where you feel you get hit by a particular thing that you'd love to see more of, or you hope that they know that they are on the right path and they're doing something right. And also, in the same respect, it's good to know where you're going wrong as well. I think comedians, they don't have to be told. I think comedy is one of the more direct art forms, in a way, as in, when you say a joke in stand up, for example, the response from the crowd is telling you whether, like, they don't have to purposely go after you after the show. You can tell there and then whether something is landing or not. So there's kind of an honesty and a realness and a real reality to stand up comedy, if it's hitting or landing. But and then I want to also, where I can, impart any business knowledge, or anything, any tools that I've built, or any knowledge that I picked up along the way in relation to marketing and stuff, because I've built businesses in the past, and software engineer, so I have a bit of knowledge in areas where other people mightn't. You know what I mean? Other musicians that are trying to market themselves. Not that I'm, the greatest, most successful marketer, but I've done a good bit of research into things, and I have a general knowledge of marketing. and stuff in that area. So and then passing on that information is free. Like if you have a bit of knowledge that could help somebody, um, it's just sitting inside you, and you're not putting it to use. And if you see a place for it, you should throw it out there, regardless of whether it's going to be reciprocated or not, or or ingested. Um, because you might as well just say, "Oh, have you thought about this?" or "Have you thought about that?" Because there's people further ahead of you on the path and further back on the path that could potentially benefit from, "Oh, don't go down that way. Like, watch out for that." Or, "Oh, Jesus, have you not seen that up there? Like, I think you should be careful." Uh, we can help people. And again, we help people, we help ourselves, we help the world, and then the world will hopefully be better off because we came into it. That would be absolutely fantastic. Um, and that's pretty much it. I'm hopefully gonna get some guests on where they are here with me downstairs in my sitting room, not here in this room. It'd be great to start getting some of these artists and the comedians, spoken word poets, all these people onto a podcast and hear their stories, because I know them on a peripheral level, just from seeing them and listening. But I think there'd be great value for everybody, even the audience and supporters, for there be sort of a platform where people, they can get to know these people better and really dig in. I see some interviews that they're very surface level, and they keep it kind of at this level of just generic questions, like, "Oh, what were your inspirations?" or like, "When did you start music?" And these are all great questions, but they don't go, when they get the answer. Like these questions, the surface level questions, they get you to the next level, and then you can go deeper and deeper and deeper. Whereas sometimes you see it, they just keep it at them surface level questions. But the real value and the real interest and learning for everybody involved is at the deeper levels, I think. So potentially gonna be reaching out to whoever you are, if you're still listening to this, very soon. I'm mobile as well. I can bring my sort of bits and bobs with me in order to record these podcasts elsewhere. So that would be the plan. And then we just get all these absolutely amazing stories of all these creators out there. That's one side of the guests. Like obviously there'll be other guests as well. Really anybody who wants to come on can come on. But just seeing, when you're seeing in these creative arenas on the open mic scene, you just know that there's an interesting story, there's an interest in philosophy, there's an interest in a way of looking at the world behind these people that I think would be amazing to help facilitate getting out into the world. And that's another thing that's clicked with me, and that's why I kind of wanted to start up this podcast again. And then I'll start putting the feelers out, and hopefully we can all learn from others in a way that'll be beneficial to everybody involved. That's it really. Again, I said probably that's it already. I just had a few bullet points here. I actually earned some money from Spotify. I got 2,000 streams over a year and a half period, and that got me $34 or euro. And then I lost 20 of it because when I was withdrawing it, I selected a method that basically took 20 quid. But I made 14 quid for my musical pursuit. So because I'm a sole trader as well, and even if I wasn't, that would make me think, oh, if I register as a sole trader, I can count this as a business expense, like as in microphones and everything that I've bought in order to aid my musical ambition. Now that I've earned money from Spotify, that sort of gives me an excuse or a valid reason for putting it as an expense, because it actually is an expense. Because obviously, ideally, if the music was viable in some way, then you could do more of that, and that's always something that's here with me now. That idea, as I'm moving forward. So now being able to actually have something on paper and say, "Oh, you actually got money from this," then I can be all the. I've purchased loads of stuff. I don't even get into it. If you've seen the evolution of this podcast, you can just see more gadgets coming in and out. And now we got the camera. So expensing it as a musician, it's an interesting thing to think about, because if you think you basically you save at least 20% on your purchases. Yeah, that's even without registering for VAT, because I think the lower rate tax is 20% of your earnings. I won't get too into the tax stuff, but yeah, look, we'll be back with some guests next time. Just thought this might be nice to try and kick it off, see if I can still sit here and talk shy and rant and try and elicit some words of value. I think I might have done all right. Had some dodgy moments as usual, but anyway, we'll leave it there.